our community, our hometown. This is Kearney Live, presented by 102.7 FM and KMO-TV. Kearney Live is a close-up look at the people, places, and events that matter to you. And now, here are the hosts of Kearney Live, Mike Davis and Jim Dickerson.
Wow. Thank you for that. Hey, you know what I just saw was our new intro.
That looks snazzy.
That was very snazzy. Get your mic on there.
Yeah, thank you.
I thought that really looked amazing.
Yeah, who did that?
Well, I think it was a joint effort between Brian Watts and myself, and we were just really happy to see it's new clips from different sorts of news events and so forth. I want to run it again. It was so much fun.
You want to see it again?
No.
Okay.
It's all good. Welcome to Kearney Live. I'm your host, Mike Davis, along with producer-engineer Brian Watts. You just heard the dulcet tones of Brian Watts, the guy. Yep, there he is right there. Good-looking guy, too. You know, everybody knows he's the sexiest man in Kearney. He was voted as such. Wow. I think maybe. I'm trying to remember. I think it was a group of maybe one or two, but it was unanimous.
Okay.
And I also have with us today our guest. Let me introduce Marie Steiner is with us today. Hi, Marie. How are you?
Good afternoon.
And thank you for being with us. We're going to get back to you in just a minute. We're going to talk about your candidacy for Ward 2, Alderman here in Kearney, Missouri. So we'll get right back to you. Meantime, this guy right here, I got to tell you something. You talk about a big deal. Ooh. He is.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
He'll tell you. Jim Dickerson, good to see you, buddy.
Good to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to see all the people back in the studio audience across now.
It's funny every time.
Those people are across the hall in the secondary studio, so that's good. But good to be here. Good to be back.
But our audience thinks that's funny every time we do. I don't care because I do. It's hilarious. Anyway, hi, Jim.
Hey, I thought you were leaving.
No, I had to get some coffee. Wow. Jim, what community events or things are going on in your little mind or large mind, in your big deal mind? What's going on around Kearney that you think our listeners might want to know about?
Well, I'll tell you what the hot topic is right now. For those of you who didn't know, and if you actually go to the KMO-TV news, you'll see a news brief about it. Also, you'll see some video about it and a story about it. Kearney has approved for the zoning part a Starbucks. And, oh boy, did that not bring up some attention. So I'll ask you guys for your opinion because, you know, there's multiple.
That was me.
Just keep talking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So there's different parts of opinion on this. I'll give you mine real quick, and then I'll let you guys discuss it before we move on. I see both sides of the story. You know, I'm not a big Starbucks fan for any number of reasons, but I'm not going to lie and say I've never been there. I've had a Frappalappa-Chappa-Dappa or whatever it is. But Frappalappa-Chappa-Dappa, that's what it is. Grande. But, you know, at the same time, you know, there are in Kearney, there are two other coffee shops, and they do really well. I know a lot of people like the down home thing, but, you know, it's also business. I will say they got a prime spot down there by 35 and 92, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Have at it.
My sense is that as Kearney grows, the population growth is really what determines these franchises coming in, and you know they're going to set up shop, folks. We can't have it both ways. If you want the city to grow, and it will, I mean, just by virtue of the population, we talked about it a week or so ago with fire protection. As the population grows, these kinds of businesses will find their way into Kearney. Now, whether you want to patronize these folks or not, that's entirely up to you. How you spend your money is your own business. But I think be aware that as this happens, we're going to see more and more of this. Now, what happens when with competition? We know that in a free market society, man, competition, and we've got competition. Believe me, it's all over the place in the media business. It makes you better. You have to do better. And who benefits from that ultimately? You do, the customer, because every place you go is going to be on their game. And so that's the sort of thing you're looking at here. And by the way, there are tax revenues and all kinds of things that come from a new business, especially like a franchise type business like that. There will be more. I'm like Jim. I'm not a big customer, and frankly, I'd rather go to Mojo's or Paisley Perk, one of those two. And they've been great sponsors at one time or another. Mojo's is still a sponsor. The Paisley Perk, great people. We love doing business with them. They've done some stuff with us. I'm a strong proponent of shop local. So it's up to you, but just know what growth means. It means more businesses coming in, and that is a good thing.
Well, and I will say this. So if you drive over a little bit to Excelsior, they had a scooters go in, and it kind of on the main drag. And the interesting thing is there is a pretty new coffee shop that's down on Broadway, down on the downtown area. So you kind of have to go down there to get to it, called Other Trails. And they have exploded. Everybody thought that scooters was really going to hurt them, but a lot of people have gravitated toward that down-home thing. So they started off with just coffee, and now they've got coffee and breakfast stuff, and I know they're doing donuts and all this other stuff. It's all, here's a couple things. Number one, it's all homemade. In other words, it's not stuff that came off a truck that came from Detroit 6 days ago. I mean, it is fresh and in there. So, yeah, I just gave a free plug to Other Trails.
Yeah, I noticed that. Thanks.
So if you guys could, I know the owners down there, they're great people. But it still doesn't prevent you from writing me a check. But no, it just goes, but it just goes to show,
I've spare change, Jim.
The hometown thing, people will support the hometown business, but keep up your game and all that. So I see both sides of that.
I do too.
Yeah,
I get it. I mean, it's alarming. You think, oh, our culture's changing. No, it doesn't. You are the culture. I mean, there are precious few places on the planet like Kearney, Missouri, and Kearney is a wonderful place to live, work, and play. And I am telling you, I'm right there with you. You want to keep that culture. Well, how do you do it? Well, keep doing what you're doing. Listen, people turn out for events. Take a look at just in the past year, even during the pandemic. Look at the Christmas parade. I mean, things like that. Look at the high school, the school district. I mean, you talk about infrastructure. I mean, good grief. People come here for the school district alone. I mean, there are so many, many good things to enjoy about Kearney, Missouri. Look at the splash pad, for example. I mean, look how a city came together for such a thing and made it a reality. That's what I'm talking about. So that's how you maintain your culture in the face of growth.
No, I agree. Beautiful thing. Why are you giving me that signal, Brian?
And that wasn't for you. It was for Mike. This is only an hour show.
I took up exactly the same amount of time I told Marie that we would use.
All right, well, let's move forward.
We're moving forward, apparently, and I am done. And with that,
thank you. You're done.
We go over
That's what his
to the
wife
one
says.
and only Mike Davis.
Thank you, Jim. I'm going to go to the one and only Marie Steiner. Welcome to the show, Marie. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. All right, here you are again. You're going to run for this thing. You're going to make this happen. This is Ward 2, and you got to tell us your elevator speech. Look, folks, you know these questions. We need to know who you are, what you are, where you are. How did you get here in your life? Let's talk about that first.
Thank you. I was born and raised in Kansas City. We never had children. All our children are everyone's children, and my husband of 47 years and I took this to heart and moved to Kearney in 2009 to be closer to family, a great niece who is also our goddaughter. We wanted to be here for her when she began school. She will be graduating this spring from Kearney High School.
Woohoo!
And she'll be going on to William Jewell College this fall, my alma mater. I graduated from William Jewell with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and a paralegal certificate. I'm a retired banker. I don't want to share how many years, but a lot. I personally have not served.
I like how you did that.
I personally have not served my country, but my husband and 16 members of our family have. My father received the Purple Heart and Bronze Star. My stepfather received the Purple Heart and Silver Star. And I decided to create a display of our 16 members of our family veterans. And I've displayed it throughout Kansas City and Independence. Currently, it's on display at the Midwest Genealogy Center.
Oh, wow.
One of my goals in life is to interview 50 veterans, as the Midwest Genealogy Center has a program called Oral History for Veterans. So this is one of my personal goals.
Very cool. Well, outstanding. I mean, that's impressive. Some of those things I remember from our last meeting when you were here, which was 2 years ago, right?
Correct.
We talked about it before you got in here, and it doesn't seem like it's been 2 years. All right, Marie, why do you want to be an alderman? Talk about it. I have an idea. Some of this, I know you're very civic-minded, and those who know you understand that about you. But for the rest of our audience, for the benefit of the voters, tell us about why you want to be an alderman.
Well, the late Mayor Bill Dane, I remember when he first asked me to run for alderman for the first time in 2014, he said something that stuck with me. He said, everyone should give back to their community. And I have always enjoyed giving, so this seemed very appropriate. I was an alderman from 2014 to 2020. I was recognized by the city with a resolution recognizing that contribution and with a key to the city. I attended the Missouri Municipal Elected Official Training in 2014 and 2016. And as a banker, I managed 2 different facilities during my career. I found the need for our deaf customers. They were having to take up so much time writing out notes in as much as what they needed to do. So I went and took classes to assign to my deaf customers. So in other words, when I see there's a need, I try to find a plan to resolve that. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I'm not afraid to ask questions.
Very good. We talked a little bit about developing new populations and development in towns like Kearney. And as an example, our questions mentioned that they use Liberty as a thriving downtown area as an example. And it also mentions here in the question that it has the advantage of a town square, which is really nice and has historical value and all of that. But as the question is written, what can Kearney do to emulate Liberty's downtown success? And I want to kind of qualify that. Kearney wants to be Kearney, and I don't think this question is any way. While it may sound as if we want to be like Liberty, but I think there are some aspects of having a town square and that sort of thing that adds to a city's culture. Let's just say, what can Kearney do? What can we do to sort of retain and hold our own culture and develop it as Kearney continues to grow?
Well, you are correct. We hear residents who say they don't want to be like Liberty. We don't want the big population. That's why people relocate to Kearney, the school district, as you mentioned earlier. But I think mostly what I'm seeing is the Kearney Enrichment Council, the Chamber, they are trying to create events so that people will come downtown. If you haven't been to the museum, it is very worth your time. They're trying to make that draw. The mural that they did in what I call the alleyway there, they're trying to redevelop that. The Chamber is bringing businesses, trying to get the downtown area more vital so they will have other business who will want to move to downtown Kearney. I think we're doing it, but with everything, anything that you want first class, it's going to take time. We don't want just any type of business to move into the area.
Yeah, I think there's a city, I'm not going to dime them out, just a little bit east of here that did that for a while. They would just take any business that they could get, and they'd get like Pete's Ferret Shop. Nothing against ferret lovers, but the business wouldn't last. It would last 6 minutes, and then they'd be gone.
What about those poor ferrets? You see them scattering
It was
on 69 highway.
I'm not going to lie. It was a sad time.
I know.
It was a rough time for a lot of us ferrets. But along those lines, I know a lot of people talk about the amphitheater and its use and the ability to grow it. You know, we wanted to do this, we wanted to do that. We've covered this on the show. I mean, you're probably not going to get Journey out there. And I talked to Steve not too long ago, and it's just not going to happen. But anyway, what do you envision for, let's use the amphitheater as an example, because it's a great facility out there. What would you envision for where we should go with that moving forward? Do we use it more? Are we using it just enough? Do we need to use it less? What would you do?
In my research, because I didn't know a good background on the amphitheater, do you know that they've had comedy shows, they've had various fundraisers, church events, services, movies, even a large funeral?
I did not.
Yes.
Okay, I got to ask, who was the funeral for?
I didn't get the name.
I was going to say, I must have missed it.
And the only seating they have is the seats you bring with you, so it's real hard to sell when you don't have reserved seating. I know Parks and Rec works real hard to use the taxpayers' money wisely, but they're always open for suggestions. The amphitheater is now 14 years old, so any events that we bring and we don't have the equipment, we have to rent it. And we also have to hire the person to work the equipment that they've rented. So that, you know, we're talking ticket sales is what covers the cost, so it'd be more expensive. Park and Rec says they're open for suggestions. Sounds like they've tried different venues, but it's, 70% of the ticket sales are from people who don't even live in Kearney. So I don't have a positive answer. I wish I had something concrete. It appears to me they're trying to do everything they can to bring it. They're working more with what they consider local. The larger venues don't want to come to Kearney because it's too small. So they're looking for locals that they can get, and they've had some good turnouts, definitely.
Yeah, I know. I saw some of last year was kind of weird because we were still stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and these bands had come out there, and some of them were pretty well known, and then 7 people would be out there because nobody wanted to go. But we went to a deal 2 years. It was pre-pandemic that I thought was pretty well attended. Maybe it's because I was there. I don't know. But is that wrong? Well, do they still do the demolition derby out there?
Well,
not at the amphitheater, but across the way, right there. Because if you look at Platte County has their Platte County Fair. And their demolition derby is packed every year. I mean, packed. So I know there's other activities they can use in the park. Is there any discussion about that on the other side?
I know that they have done a lot of discussion, but again, they need feedback from the residents. What would they like to see? Then they could go out and figure out what the cost is going to be because a ticket is going to pay for that. And I don't know what demolition derby, what's the going price for tickets. Is it $20? Is it $50?
I think I paid $20 to go see it. Okay. And it was worth every dollar.
Yeah.
The best part was when they had the kids and the little, those cars you get at Kmart or Kmart. That didn't even exist. Shows my age there. The cars you get at, like the little motorized cars.
I know what you mean.
The kids were they're running into each other, and they'll say, that was the best. That was worth $20 right there.
That's that's the equivalent to mutton busting in it.
It was.
In the rodeo. Yeah. There's some entertainment value to that. I'll tell you what's entertaining is Kearney Live is entertaining. We've got Marie Steiner with us, and she is going to be right back with us on Kearney Live. We're going to talk some more about what she's going to do if she gets elected to Ward 2 Alderman. Stay with us. You're listening to Kearney Live.
Always remember to thank the underwriters for their support of KPGZ.
Simplify your banking, simplify your life. It's easy with Kearney Trust Company. Kearney Trust goes beyond convenient locations and good customer care to offer banking services that make managing your finances quicker and easier than ever before. Online, bill pay, e-statements, and mobile banking are available to give you a positive banking experience so you can get back to your life and activities. Kearney Trust also provides capital to people and businesses so they can achieve their goals. Whether you know exactly what you want or just need someone to talk to about your dream, you can speak with them and work on that dream. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
Electric cooperatives are different. We have a sense of pride in our local community and support the people who live here. That's why Platte Clay Electric Cooperative supports local schools, takes an active role in economic development, and works hard to keep costs down for its members. We exist for one purpose, to empower communities and energize life with safe and reliable energy. To learn more about how Platte Clay Electric Cooperative is working to achieve that mission, visit www.pcec.coop. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative.
You may have noticed your shoulder hurting, or maybe a kink in your neck. The culprit may be looking right at you. Your phone. Think about how you use it. Does that pain feel familiar to you?
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Strathman with Kearney Family Chiropractic Center, and I've been practicing chiropractic health in Kearney for over 22 years. When you come to see me, I identify what's wrong and determine if I can help you. If I can, I create your personalized plan for relief.
When you have pain, you can make an appointment by calling 816-628-6738, or you can visit the office at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Heal yourself.
And welcome back to Kearney Live. We are visiting today with Marie Steiner. She is running for Ward 2 in Kearney, Missouri for Alderman, and you've been on the you've been a board of Alderman candidate, and you've actually been on the board.
Yes.
One other time, and 3 times. Wow. Okay, so you've been around.
We did a story on that a little bit ago. I just was on the website and stuff. Mike doesn't usually see it apparently, but didn't you get like a key to the city or something like that?
Yeah, yes, and I brought it with me if you'd like to see it and hold it.
Didn't we do a story on that, Brian?
I'm going to write Jim a strongly worded letter. Brian, take a letter. Thank you for all that, Jim.
Take a memo.
Right. Okay, so Marie, let's talk about this. We've covered, and Jim has enhanced even the background that you have here in the city, which everybody knows you. This feels silly. In any case, let's talk about what we talked about at the beginning of the show, and that is, as Kearney grows and develops, and specific to that, the question here, it talks about how the interchange brings new opportunities and certainly new issues because it's going to connect the east and the west side of Kearney. Let's talk about that. How are things going to change, and what are we going to do about all of the growth?
Well, as you know, with the use tax passing, our police department is going to need to hire 2 additional officers. Currently, they're fully staffed. The interchange will help fire and rescue as far as their travel time going to the west side of town as well. I spoke with Chief Kevin Pratt, and he assured me that, yes, the future for building another station, as you know, he probably shared that with you, is still in the plans, but there's been nothing definite made a decision as to when or the location. It will make it a safer route for our school buses carrying our children across from the west side to the east side. Also for drivers coming from that part of town, it will be a safer route that they won't have to be on 92 where you have all your tractor trailers. I anticipate there being a lot of growth in anticipation of that interchange being put in, because it will connect the west and the east, that they won't have to travel the 92. The wait time, I don't know if either of you sit there and wait sometimes on 92 in that morning rush hour traffic. It has increased, and it keeps increasing by, I guesstimate, about 5 minutes. And sometimes when the traffic is running, it's as long as 15 minutes before you can get through a light to turn on to 35. So I look for that time to decrease with the interchange put in place.
Yeah, that'll help. I mean,
yes.
Let's face it, that's probably one of the first priorities.
Yes.
Is to ease the traffic on I-35 and having to wait your turn to really drive, I don't know, a block or two. And nobody wants that. I would agree with you. All right. Well, and then as we talk about growth, you talk about Liberty and Kansas City growing north, Smithville and Excelsior Springs all growing sort of toward Kearney, or is it really that Kearney is growing toward them? I'm not sure. But the way the question is worded is that they are sort of encroaching on us. All of that to say, people have choices now, and we're not that far from really anywhere to do shopping and go get and do the things that we want to do. What can Kearney do now to be competitive with those cities so that we keep our tax dollars and our spending closer to home whenever possible?
Well, I have to say each of the cities is unique in as much as people living here and coming here to participate in the activities. I know the Kearney Enrichment Council and the Chamber, they all do activities to bring events to Kearney. And if you were to take a survey in as much as people who are attending the activities, you'll find that people come from Excelsior and Smithville. And I'm sure if they did surveys in Smithville and Excelsior, they'll see that we came from Kearney to participate in their activities.
I'm not sure if you're stopping or not. So
I'm pausing.
Oh, okay. Because I'll jump in. This is radio, so silence makes me nervous.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand. I just wanted to make sure that I answered your question.
I think you did.
And I didn't want. Competition is not what we're about. I think we're just wanting to welcome anybody who would like to come to Kearney, and we have the activities with that in mind. Not that we want to keep up with the Joneses. We just want to be Kearney and do the things that we want to have our residents participate
I think that's right, and you made some good points there. I think each one of these towns and cities that we've talked about here within short distance of Kearney has their own way of making their places a destination for folks, and I think we've talked about that on this show with a number of different guests, and I think there are things that go on here in Kearney that are unique to everybody. I mean, the pumpkin patch is one that comes to mind. I think about people. How far do people come for that? And how about Jesse James Farm and the museum over there, and just dozens of things, and even just north of us here with the lake up at Watkins Mill and campground. I mean, these sorts of things are attractive, and I think bring lots of people who don't live in Kearney to Kearney. They're destinations. I think there are lots of places, lots of things that can be developed, and we would expect, I would imagine, wouldn't you, that as Kearney grows, more and more of that will happen.
Yes, that's the goal,
right.
Definitely.
And I don't. That's not controversial, I don't think, in the least. I think if you can attract people to your city and get them to spend some money on the weekend, and so much the better. And our businesses make the money.
Well, let's talk about something controversial.
Bring it, buddy.
Increases the ratings. So, what do you? Yeah, I cleared my throat. What do you?
So did I.
Let's talk about the pool. Should we get a pool? Do we need a pool?
When we first moved to Kearney in 2009, the only pool in Kearney closed in 2010. And ever since then, I've heard nothing but Kearney needs a pool. with the splash pad, that was something that we were saying that was our first step towards the pool, that this would, have an activity for the children and the parents to bring their children to participate in. But recently, as you know, Mayor Pogue made that land purchase and approved by the Board of Aldermen at 13.4 acres of land at 19th and 33 Highway. Now, this is the first step. Nothing happens overnight. In 2015, I was part of a committee with the mayor, the city administrator, the park director, that we had 7 proposals to build a community aquatic recreational center. I recall the city worked with the YMCA to calculate the cost, maintenance, and staff. I know the city wants to do it right, and it's going to take time, planning, and it's going to take revenue. And we want to do it only once, and we want to do it right. But yes, the residents still want a pool. You hear it at every election that when they interview the mayor or the candidates, they want a pool. So I would say, yes, they're ready. They're still ready for a pool.
We covered the opening day, the ribbon cutting of the splash pad. I could never say splash pad either. And we spoke to.
You don't work at the grass pad.
Yeah, I know it. They're high on grass. We just gave them a plug, didn't we? Just like that.
Maybe you guys can get with other trails over in Excelsior and send us a check.
How about that? I'd like that. The guy that helped with the planning, and his name escapes me, but I spoke with him just briefly on that day during the ribbon cutting. And he made a point of saying, okay, this is the sort of Kearney's first foray into an aquatic sort of infrastructure, for lack of a better word, a thing, as Jim would say. And so it sort of set the tone, I think, for what you might expect, or what the city of Kearney might expect as we move forward on a pool. That would be my guess. I don't know. Your thoughts, Marie?
That's exactly what it is. That the splash pad was the forward step to the next step is the pool, so that the children would have somewhere to play in the water, be safe, but the pool would be the next step. So the turnout we saw was what we had planned. The parents turned out with their children. So we're saying, yes, the residents still want this pool. So,
you know what the best part of the splash pad was? It was seeing Mayor Pogue show up in a purple tux. And I'm glad to say that I had a part in that.
You bribed him.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. If there's a pool, I'm going to put some hard, creative thought into what I'd like to see Mayor Pogue show up at the pool.
I think he'd pretty much do anything, Jim.
Well, it'll be purple.
I think that's right. No, that was fun.
It won't be a tux. So I have a question, because I have on my little sheet here, it says hot topic, and it says animals in town, and I didn't know that was a hot topic. And it says chickens. Are chickens controversial to you, Mike?
I think they're very tasty.
Why? So maybe you could enlighten us. Why are chickens a hot topic? Pit bulls I get, but and we'll talk about that in a second. Talk to me about chickens.
would you like to live next door to neighbors who are raising chickens in their backyards?
I have a chicken farm. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
I think it's like everything, in as much as we only know what we know. So if we do have a hot topic with chickens in the neighborhood, unless you file a complaint, obviously these people are staying under the radar, so to speak. So unless somebody files a complaint and the city sends staff out to take care of that issue. Now, pet bulls are taken care of by the police department, so they would send out city staff for the chickens.
Pit bulls or pet bulls?
Well, no,
so
pit.
Did you say, okay, I misunderstood. When you said pet bulls, I was
pit bulls.
Okay.
Are chickens a huge problem in Kearney?
No, it's not the problem. There's a contingency of people that want chickens. It's a very trendy thing to raise chickens for your own eggs and whatever else. And the city currently, I believe, has an ordinance against that. So,
That's correct.
Yeah, and you can enlighten me on that.
I must
Marie.
I must be old or something, because this is a trend to raise chickens.
Yes, there's a group of people who like to just raise chickens for their own eggs, I assume, and I don't know if they,
That's right.
you know,
Gladstone has allowed it, for example. I know this for a fact. You can raise chickens in your backyard in Gladstone. Now, you know,
people want it here too.
Yes. And you can sort of understand that now. Do you? And I would agree with Marie that if there's a rooster involved in this, I'm just saying they make a lot of noise,
Yes.
and anybody who's been around chickens knows, and they make noise all. It's not just in the morning; it's all day long. So I think that starts to enter into it, and then you talk about the keeping your culture and the value of your property and so forth. And you really have to wonder how that's going to play out with a rooster crowing or roosters crowing on either side of your homes and so on and so forth.
The smell.
And I think, I think you have to deal with it in a way that says, maybe you start zoning for such a thing. Now, those are just suggestions we're making, and I think these kind of topics sort of, throw out those ideas.
I just feel
you're
blown away.
Yeah, I didn't.
No, I see
this
it.
was a crisis, but
my wife and I sold. We did flipped a house that she used to own in Gladstone, and the folks who bought it. That's the reason I know the folks that bought it. Brought chickens in with them, and there you go. So yeah, it was, and I think it's generational too. That may have something to do with some younger folks.
So I will say this: foregoing the chickens for a minute on the pit bull thing,
not pet bulls.
No, pit bulls.
Yes.
The thing about pit bulls is it's kind of funny because it's all about how they're raised and how they're trained. If you train them to be aggressive, which a lot of people used to do, I don't think it's as common anymore. Because,
I don't see that.
Right. But I know there are a lot of pit bulls that, if they're brought up properly, they're like any other animal.
Fantastic pets.
So they can make great pets.
Yeah.
So
that's the argument.
The problem is that the people who brought the pit bulls up to be aggressive and fighters ruined the breed for everybody else. So that's what I have about pit bulls. Now we talked a little bit about this off the air. Can I get a pet sloth?
I'd have to check the ordinance.
Right.
Is anybody?
Let me get to this. All right. I think this is important because we talk about commercial spaces, and I think this, when we hear about, what was it, Brian, yesterday? It was the another pizza place.
Domino's.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had that in our news report, and people were raising their hands and saying, yeah, no, we don't need another. Well, I think that is another franchise type group that you're going to see during these developments. As I look around and you look at some of the, I think, retail spaces in Kearney, I think, I'll just be honest about it, I think there's some room for architectural improvement. It doesn't mean that I don't want them. I just think there are some ways to make, if you're going to have retail storefront type locations, I don't think it would take much to upgrade places like that as folks move in and start to make these places a little more attractive. And I think that's very possible to do. There are architectural ways to solve that problem. Yes, it takes money, but you talk about keeping your charm and keeping your culture. I think that's the sort of thing that needs to be thought through as businesses come in. Marie, what are your thoughts on how we make the most out of these commercial spaces?
Well, one of the two items that come together for me is the community center, the Firehouse Community Center, has outgrown their space and they're looking for new space. I'd really like to see that progress. The other issue I see, and it would be a good draw, would be a conference center. We don't have anything large enough for an organization or a like the chamber or the city to host an event because we don't have anything large enough that's enclosed, so to speak, like a hall. I think those two things would bring more activity. I noticed recently that where the Board of Education is for Kearney, that whole strip mall, they redeveloped that whole
great
strip
example
mall.
of what I'm talking about right there.
They did the whole front face. They did a complete facelift on it, so to speak.
Right.
And it really changed.
It's a showcase.
Yeah, it really made
Right.
the change. And that's all they did. I don't know how much they invested in it, but it really improved the look.
Well, it's an investment that I think pays out. It's sort of like improving your own property. I mean, you're going to do things that increase the curb appeal of these commercial areas, just like you would your own home. We've got Marie Steiner in with us today, and she's going to be right back after these messages. Stay with us here on Kearney Live. Thanks for being with us today. We'll be right back.
A special thank you going out to underwriters like these for their support of KPGZ.
You value choices when it comes to the products and services you bring into your home. That's why Platte Clay Electric Cooperative gives you control over the energy you use. PCEC offers members ways to save with energy efficiency rebates and demand billing. You even have the power to choose the resources used to produce your power. To learn more, visit www.pcec.coop/power. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative. Your power, your way.
Migraine headaches, the throbbing in your temples, the pounding in your forehead, extreme sensitivity to light and sound. Your neck feels so tight it could snap off. Oh, the debilitating pain.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Strathman with Kearney Family Chiropractic Center, and I've been practicing chiropractic health in Kearney for over 22 years. When you come to see me, I identify what's wrong and determine if I can help you. If I can, I create your personalized plan for relief.
When you have pain, you can make an appointment by calling 816-628-6738, or you can visit the office at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Heal yourself.
Online banking at Kearney Trust Company gives you 24/7 access to your checking, savings, money markets, CDs, and loan accounts. You can access your accounts anytime from your home, office, and mobile devices. Online banking with Kearney Trust combines convenience and flexibility to bank on your own terms. Kearney Trust Company is a partner for success with 2 locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
Make plans to attend the second annual Kearney Chamber of Commerce Hiring Fair on March 30th from 2:30 to 6 p.m. at the Kearney First United Methodist Church. Whether you're just entering the workforce, need a career change, or post-retirement part-time job, the hiring fair is loaded with opportunities from local businesses. This event is open to all job seekers. Professionals of all levels are highly encouraged to attend and participate. It's the second annual Kearney Chamber of Commerce Hiring Fair, March 30th from 2:30 to 6 p.m. at the Kearney First United Methodist Church, 1000 East 92 Highway in Kearney. The second annual Kearney Chamber of Commerce Hiring Fair. Let's get Kearney back to work.
Welcome back to Kearney Live. We've got Marie Steiner with us today. Marie, we want to talk about some more interesting points about your becoming an alderman in Ward 2, about you're a candidate this year. One of the things that's on my list here is, as we talk about digital infrastructure, it's an issue that I think nationwide, as we are more dependent on Wi-Fi and really having an internet connection to, frankly, exist, it seems. There are spaces that I think are right now, Kearney's got, they may have some issues where that could be improved. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, in my research, I found that the city is working with Intercept Wireless, who's proposing to install fiber in the ground in neighborhoods south of 19th Street. And as you know, Spectrum is beginning network expansion next week in rural areas now underserved. So I don't know a lot about that wireless, but those are two things, and I agree with you. Rural seems to be the unserved. Like you said, the connection is the internet. You can go to the library, but how convenient sometimes that might not be.
Right, and I think, that's, listen, the obvious, I think that the problem with wireless is sometimes folks can't afford it, although I'm beginning to wonder, is Kearney really a place where people can't afford cable or to have a Wi-Fi hookup in their own home? Are we dealing with families who don't have the financial means to have that? I'm not sure.
Well, as I'm on the board with Clay County Senior Services, and I do know that there are some agencies that can assist our seniors or older adults who may need that additional funds to get them connected to internet.
Yeah.
I do know that.
Yeah, seniors but students, I mean, let's face it, you got to have it. And we do know that with some of the new infrastructure that's going up in and around the school district, they will all be upgrading their wireless systems, as we hear and understand, which is terrific. But I think the more we can get to a easy digital access for everyone that's safe, by the way. So you're gonna get hacked. That's a whole other story. But
well, it's very crucial for seniors too, because a lot of things that seniors now use is all on the internet. So if you want to update your Social Security or some sort of Medicare or something, it's all online.
I'm a user. I'm Medicare, and you bet. Yes, the same thing. Social Security.
If you think for a second that you're going to make a phone call and talk to anybody,
good luck
today. That's just, the internet, you've got to have it. So
you call them up and they say, go to the internet.
And the firehouse still has that, don't they?
We moved that. The Tech Cafe and the Social Club was moved to the Kearney Senior Center, and they're there at Tuesday and Thursday. And then, of course, they're open for lunch Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But, yes, they go there and they have computers that older adults can come in, and if they need help in contact with Medicare, as you said, or Social Security, they have access to a computer there and an internet and someone to walk them through that.
How to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important too.
Yes.
So there are some things that are happening right now to sort of curb that.
Yes.
That
Angela and Shelley both will help our older adults when they come into the Kearney Senior Center if they need assistance with the internet, how it works, navigate, or if they got a new phone and they don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
They'll show them how that works.
Yeah.
Or their laptop or Chromebook, whatever electronic instrument that they've purchased or was gifted, they'll definitely show them how it works.
So you're a strong proponent of a digital society. I would.
Yes.
I don't think that's not controversial.
It's not going anywhere.
No. And okay, here's another one too, and I think this is interesting, as I know we're closing in here, but this says people are constantly looking for affordable housing like apartments, townhomes, and homes for new homeowners and so forth. And this says that since the Kearney Crossing development didn't happen, what would you like to see the city do more to bring residential development to this market?
Just from my experience being on the board, that has always been the number one item on the list is affordable housing. And as you know, the cottages that are now fully occupied by the Kearney Senior Center, they're just a walkway. That took several years to complete. And also the homes that are up by the Price Chopper, that took another several years. I do know that Stacy Bratcher, the executive director for the chamber, she says she receives calls all the time looking for residents where to live in Kearney. And Stacy has reached out to all her members to say if you have or if you know a property that's for rent or for sale, to let the chamber know so that when they receive those calls, they can give the caller that information. But it's a constant trying to get affordable housing and then get the developer to sign off on that development. And then, of course, the planning and zoning approving that development.
I think that's right. And, you want to be sensitive to the needs of, folks who, need the extra help on being able to find a place to live, to rent. And I want to be careful. I mean, the thing is, you want to make sure that those kinds of places are up to speed. I know a good example. I've got some friends that live out in Estes Park, Colorado, and they have, and I forget what they call it, but it's sort of income-controlled housing, and that's not the right word, it's not the right phrase, but it doesn't matter. The thing is, they have a lot of people who work at the retail level and can't afford, frankly, the housing that's in the middle of a mountain resort, and yet they have accommodated folks who aren't making, $75,000 to $100,000 a year to come in and live in what is a very nice place, not large, but very affordable, that fits in architecturally, fits in with the city, fits in with the development plan, the overall development plan. You follow what I'm saying? Yes. And I think there are ways to serve folks who don't have the means to move into a city like you might think. You come into Kearney and look at some of the new houses, Brian, and I'll bet you your house is worth a lot more than it was when you bought it.
Oh, definitely. It's probably, I would say, $50,000 to $75,000 more than when we bought it. So,
right.
But that's just costs and of materials and things today that have just skyrocketed.
Yeah. So I think that underscores what I'm talking about here. And then yet you still. You want to make sure, Marie, you want to accommodate the folks that want to live and work here.
I agree.
And you don't want to have your community turn into a gated community where everybody is making $1 million a year or more. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I hear you.
And I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but there are places in this country where that is the case. So. Quickly, we got a minute or two. Do you want to kind of wrap it up for us and give your best shot at why you should be elected to the city alderman?
Well, first and last, I want to thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. But I'm very passionate about voters. Exercise your right to vote. As you can see on the news now, not everybody has that right, and it's very important. If you have not registered to vote, March the 9th was the last date to register for the April 5th election. Polls open at 6 o'clock in the morning and it closes at 7. And as long as you're in line at 7 o'clock, you can cast your vote. Absentee voting goes on until the day before election, but you have to walk into the Board of Election and do it in person. Absentee by mail ends the 23rd. That means it has to be at the election board on that date. I won't be working the election because I'm on the ballot, but I will be outdoors campaigning.
Outstanding. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for being with us. And Jim, good seeing you. On behalf of KPGZ 102.7 FM, Brian Watts, Jim Dickerson, Marie Steiner, it has been a ball having you guys here today. Thanks so much for listening to us. Next week, the Kearney School District Board candidates, Meredith Cole and John Kern. I can't wait to meet those two. I think maybe I know a couple of those people. Maybe I don't know them. I don't remember anything anymore. It is hard being me, but it's not hard being you, not when you listen to Kearney Live. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being with us.